by some miracle, it's just me in the house with my dog. I don't know how that happened, but it's really helpful. So we're going to use this time to make this final video lecture and add the footings and foundations. So one thing you're going to need to do for your 3D structural view here is turn on the walls. Now have I already done that? Yeah, I've already done that. And then I hid all of the walls that were currently in the project. So on the 3D structural perspective view, I just want to see structure stuff. So, but I need to have the walls on so that I can see my foundation walls. Okay. So I need to add my foundation wall underneath these columns and underneath these columns. So I'm going to go to my level 1 structural plan. And let me just double check. I believe I've turned on the walls in here and I've hid them, but I'm going to unhide them. Let me just do this so I can see everything. There we go. I'm going to unhide them. There they are. Specifically, I'm going to grab these two and these two. Okay. Unhide elements. Back on. Okay. I just want to be able to see the wall so I know how my foundation wall from top of footing level up to level 1 relates to it. So I'm going to go up to structure. I'm going to go to wall and choose structural. And right now I'm on basic foundation wall, 12-inch concrete. That's the one I'm using. It's going from top of footing up to level 1. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw it center of column line to center of column line around at least this volume. Bring it back to here. There we go. Oh, I know it's underneath there, and I'm going to do the same thing for this guy right here. Structural. I'll use the rectangle tool. I'll just go from here over to there. Okay. So let's look at this. I want this wall, foundation wall, to be the inside edge to match the inside edge of the exterior wall. So I need to move this one over. I'll move this one over on this side. And then I'll do the same for this one. I'll move this out so the inside edge matches the inside edge of the wall here. Now I'm doing that so that the structure of the wall comes down right, at least on the inside edge of the foundation wall below, so that all the weight is transferred down to there, and then it'll get transferred to the footing. Like I said before, I'm going to probably end up changing this wall, so it's going to get thicker anyways. So if I move this foundation wall out to that edge, that'll leave some nice space for this wall to get thicker. On this end is the curtain wall, and on this end's the curtain wall, that end, and that end. So let's go ahead and move those foundation walls. So I'm going to go up to modify, align, move that one over, move that one. There we go, that one and that one. So I've moved those out. Now I'm going to go through and hide. See if I can. I want to hide these upper walls again, so that in the structural drawing, I'm only seeing the foundation wall below and the columns. So let me check the 3D structural drawing. There you go. So that looks pretty good. So I'm seeing that foundation wall below. Now, as you see, the columns unfortunately come down, but they don't really land on this wall nicely. So we're going to put like a little structural pilaster beneath there. So basically this foundation wall will kind of bump out like a mini column beneath each steel column. Same thing we did first semester. So for that, I'm going to go architecture, column architectural. And I'll do this 18 by 18. That's fine. Now, just for the columns, just to remind you as we place them, for depth, it says, so I have the setting in the options bar on depth. That means it's going from the level of this plan that I'm looking at right now. So level 1 into the drawing. So it's going to go down depth to top of footing. So I'll just put one of them in right here. Now I don't like where that's sort of placed there. It's I don't like how this wall, I like how this wall relates to it, but don't like how this wall relates to it. So I'll probably end up moving this wall too. In fact, no time like the present. There we go. So if my calculations are correct, you can see that little bump out there in that bottom corner. So that looks pretty good. So let's do that now to all the columns. So go back to level 1. I'm just going to select this one and say create similar. Let's see. I'm just going to go down the line here. So hopefully your project isn't too crazy. I talked to some students and I just want to remind you that, you know, the goal isn't to try to impress me on design or anything like that. The goal is for you to accomplish the skills that I'm doing. So the goal for you is to produce a reasonable framing, footings, and foundations and add them into the model. Now, if your project is just bananas, you may want to take a step back, go back to the conceptual modeling stage. You're going to see I'm going to move this. Actually, I'll do it now. There we go. That looks better. That as well. Go back to that stage and sort of make a project that just, you know, this can be a simple project. It doesn't need to be super complex. I just want to make sure you can do the different skills that I'm asking for. So if you're getting really frustrated because your massing model has curves and it's like just bonkers, go ahead and start over and make your project orthogonal. That will help you. Okay. It's not going to be a dumb project. I guarantee you it'll be really cool in the end, but you might have to do that for it to sort of help you through this. Okay. So we have all of those pilaster sort of columns put along the foundation wall to accept the column that's coming, the steel column coming down. That looks really good. Now we need to add footings on all the walls and then isolated footings underneath each of the columns we just placed. So footings is really simple. So I'm just going to go to structure. Here we go. Under foundation, I'm going to choose wall. So 36 by 12 inch. I'm just going to click through the walls here. And that should do it. So I have, pardon me, I have all those. Oop, almost forgot one. There we go. I have all those walls. I have the footing underneath all of them. Now we need to do it under each column. So let's start with, I'm going to go back to level 1. All right, that's looking pretty good there. Okay, so I'm going to go say start at this column. I'm going to go wall, or I'm sorry, structure, foundation, and I'm going to click on isolated. And the default is it has none of these loaded. So yes, I'd like to load one. And I'm going to go to Imperial Library. Let's go structural foundations, footing rectangular. Okay, so this first one's a 72 by 48 by 18. Now I know that my bottom plinth down here, my footing down here is 12 inches deep. So I'm going to make a new one. I'm going to duplicate this one. And let's do 60 by 60 by 12. So 60 is 5 feet and 12-inch deep. Oh, not feet. 12 inch. There, 1 foot. I'll hit OK. There it is. So we're going to put that. Let's just see where it's being placed. Level 1. So that's wrong. We want that at top of footing. Okay, that looks correct. You see how it got absorbed into the rest of the footing down there. I'm going to go ahead and put these in. And I will just go around the horn like I did before. So I'll just reiterate the point. If your project is just too complex, take a step back, make it orthogonal, make it simple. You will like it. I guarantee it. For example, let's say that your project is your eccentric collector is some sort of car collector. There's one in my little town here. Everybody knows who he is. He holds the, what is it? Cars and Coffee happens every year in the summer on Sundays, but none this year, thanks COVID. But, a typical car parking space is 18 feet by 9 feet. So that's a good space like to have in your mind and to start with. So like, how could you stack those up? How could you combine boxes that are, say, 10 feet by 20 feet? Because that's basically a car. So think about like cars on display, cars that need to travel to be on display. However, this eccentric collector would like to, show off his car collection. In town here, the guy actually has a garage. Wow, this is really coming together. Let me just get this last one in here. He has a garage in town and he fits about 8 cars in there. So as of now, this drawing is complete for this assignment that's coming up. So in my assignment, I want you to make the structure, the actual structure for your eccentric collector structure. So you saw how I started all this, adding grid lines and taking us all the way through it. So what I want you to do is on one sheet, have a 3D view similar to this. Maybe let's see how it looks in perspective. It looks a little, here, let's see if we can get a good view of it. That looks strange. Let's change it to orthographic. That looks better. I'm going to turn on my shadows. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to just double check that so I'm on hidden line. Let's try shaded, ambient. Okay, that's looking better. That might be a little dark. Maybe I'll keep it on hidden line. But the ambient shadows are on it now. And it looks good for now. So I want, I'll leave it up to you if you want to leave the shadows on or not. Something weird about the shadows is they live on zero plane, like kind of the ground. So it kind of looks weird, like they're floating. So it might be better to have those off, but that'll be your call. So I would like a drawing like this on a sheet with your title block. So like say this will be S100. Then S101 will be your footings and foundations framing plan. And then from there, it's how many levels you have. So like for me, I would probably include, let's see roof 1. I probably would just do level 1 and then roof 1. in my case, because here it's showing all of the beams for this whole, all the framing beams for this whole spine, showing all the columns below and all the joists. So I would probably, this would look good. Now, before I put this on a sheet, I might want to turn the tags back on. So let me see. I think some of them I hid. Yeah, so I could unhide those. And then otherwise I could go to annotate, tag by category. Let's see if it'll let me. Oh, I think I might have turned them off. Yeah, let me try that. VV. There we go. Okay, there we are. So this must be the one I just made. Let's try that again. So I want to go tag by category. There's one. It's kind of giving me. Maybe I can tab there. I can get the one on the side there. I can get the one here, here. There is one in between right there. You can sort of move it around to wherever it makes sense or wherever looks the best. Not really out there, wouldn't look too good. So what also helps when you're doing the tagging, put it on a like 1/4 inch scale instead of the 1/8, because now I can really kind of see where it is. And I'm going to change the, I went from coarse to fine. What does medium look like? The same as fine. So fine, and I can use this to sort of be able to select different things and tag them. So tag by category. Now I can really see that beam. Get rid of this one. Don't worry about tagging the joist beam unless you keep the tag that was already there to begin with. Don't worry about tagging that because it's a really bizarre tag and it's really finicky. So I would just sort of tag the beams on the perimeter of the joist and kind of go around and tag everything. So depending on how many levels you have. So I would have your level 1 footings and foundations plan. So I'm going to rename this and I'm just going to call it footings and foundation. And then, didn't want to do that. Let me show you what it said here. Right click, rename. So let's say level 1 dash footings and foundation plan. Enter. Would you like to rename corresponding level views? No, because I want it just to be for structural plan. I don't want my level 1 architectural floor plan to say footings and foundations. Okay, roof 1. I'll call this roof 1 structural framing plan. No on that again. Level 2. So level 2 is the level of the roof of this main piece here, not the roof of this. So I could include this with this structural package too. So I'm going to rename this level 2 structural framing plan. So the sheets that you would send to me if you're doing this project would be sheet S100, which is this, a view of their 3D structure. Sheet S101, which would be your level 1 footings and foundations. Sheet S102, which could be your level 2 structural framing plan with everything sort of noted correctly, all your beams. Let me put it on fine. There we go. And then that'd be S101. This is S102. S103 could be the roof 1 structural framing plan, which would really just be the structural information up here. So level 2 structural roof information is here. So the notes that you have for here do not need to appear again on this one. I think you understand what I mean, because it's sort of covered in the last sheet. So we don't need all this out here. We just really need this information. So that should do it. So if I were handing in this project, S100, S101, S102, S103. Okay, so I have the views. Now I have to make a sheet. So this one is A101, but I could change this, you know. Let's see if I can. There we go. S100. Call this structural perspective. Okay, so S100, I would plop that structural perspective view onto here, and then I would duplicate this and make my other sheets. Okay, I hope that's helpful. I'm going to write up that assignment right now, and then you'll be getting that shortly. So that should do it for this week. It's all structural, all for your conceptual massing. If you guys are really stuck on the massing, please, please, please contact me, and let's get at this before we get too far in. Okay, because we're going to be building this thing up. Okay, bye.